Now, write that down and look it up for yourself. Internment and Resettlement Operation. That's what this is. You can look it up online. FM, Frank Mary, 3-39.40. Internment and Resettlement Operation. This document was leaked to the public. This document outlines policies for processing detainees into internment camps, both globally and inside the United States. So you, as an American citizen, if you are captured and detained under this internment and resettlement operation, you could be shipped out of the country. The document outlines policies for processing these detainees. They say international agencies like the UN and the Red Cross are named as partners in addition to domestic federal agencies, including Homeland Security and FEMA. And it even goes further, and it elaborates on how detained American citizens will be indoctrinated to support the policies of the U.S. government. You say that's impossible? Well, or that this is conspiracy theory? Then why, over the last 2 years, every time I get a ton of emails of people saying this is all just conspiracy theories, yet when they come to pass and it turns out to be true, not a conspiracy theory, then I don't hear from you people anymore. Then the emails stop. When all of a sudden everything that you accused me of just being a conspiracy theory has come true, then all of a sudden I don't hear from you anymore. And by the way, you can email me at contact@wdeanshook.com. Or the contact page on the front of wdeanshook.com. There's a little contact thing there. Just put your comment in there. That'll come straight to my email. You'll get an email back, an automatic response that says I've received your email, and I will respond to those personally. Now, I want to tell you about something else. Obama, like I said before the break, has this litmus test. This is from theexaminer.com. That writing on his Facebook on I think last Monday, Nobel Peace Prize nominee Jim Garrow revealed that President Obama has come up with a new litmus test to determine who will remain in position of leadership within the U.S. military and whether or not they'll fire on American citizens. This is the litmus test, whether or not they'll fire on American citizens. Here's what it says. I've just been informed by a former senior military leader that Obama's using a new litmus test in determining who will stay and who must go as his military leaders. Get ready to explode, folks. The new litmus test of leadership in the military is if they will fire on U.S. citizens or not. Those who will not are removed. I'm not kidding. And this would seem to affirm what a lot of people have already suspected, which is that the federal government's getting ready for war with the American people. 2 billion rounds of hollow point ammunition. It's released, DHS has released reports in the past labeling Second Amendment activists as potential terrorists, pro-lifers, Christians. We are all considered domestic terrorists. Well, in Marines at 29 Palms in California were given a survey by Navy Lieutenant Commander Ernest Guy Cunningham, asking if they would fire on American citizens who refused to turn in firearms in the event of a federal gun confiscation. Well, these are the people, depending on how they answered, who would remain in military or in high-ranking military positions, and who would not. Now, it could be that whoever said, they would not fire on them will just end up going to Afghanistan. But everyone who says yes, they would do it are going to be set up into this paramilitary group that's going to run the streets of America. Now, let me tell you about this. The UN is also in on kidding about this. And let me play you a clip. Now, the UN has this small arms treaty ban. Now, this small arms treaty ban applies, because it's the UN, globally. They've already implemented it around the world. We're the only ones that are standing against this. And it's as important that you understand this. Please listen to this.
The fewer guns we have in the world, the better it is for mankind.
They are as determined as ever.
Mr. Chairman, small arms and light weapons are truly weapons of mass destruction.
The United Nations conspiring with the majority of its members to do what they've already done to their own citizens. Deny you your firearm freedom.
In New York, right here in our own shores, we've got a Trojan horse. They want to set U.S. firearms policy. They want to take the decision away from the U.S. electorate and undermine our Constitution.
That's really their ultimate agenda, to bring the United States down from the pinnacle of freedom to simply being another one of these socialist states where the government controls everything.
And just who are these gun grabbers? Countries like Japan.
We strictly punish and control the possession and the use of small arms by civilians.
Britain and Australia.
Firearm owners in Australia must also demonstrate a genuine reason for ownership.
The Netherlands.
It's my firm conviction that the illicit trade cannot be tackled without involving the legal arms trade.
And Canada, led by its former Minister of Justice, Alan Rock.
Registration is the cornerstone of the entire strategy.
Alan Rock is now Canada's voice at the United Nations. His anti-gun agenda is now front and center at the world stage. That's scary.
Scary because the United Nations continues to get away with what it does best.
It's a stealth operation.
Secretly scheming behind closed doors to outlaw your guns.
We must not wait until 2006.
Accountable to no one.
People don't get elected to the UN. And that's the really scary thing. How the hell do you get rid of a UN bureaucrat?
These are the biggest human rights violators in the world, and they're trying to tell people in the United States that we shouldn't have certain civil liberties.
But the UN is not pushing its agenda alone. There's a propaganda machine working every day, targeting the NRA and gun ownership as evil. It's called IANSA, the International Action Network on Small Arms.
This is not about military small arms. This is not about rocket launchers.
What they're really after is my Winchester hunting rifle.
Just log on to IANSA's website, and you'll see it's made up of more than 500 anti-gun NGOs, or non-governmental organizations.
They are absolutely awesome in terms of the power they have.
Power and a plot that is being engineered right here in London, in that building behind me where IANSA is headquartered. Imagine, nearly 230 years after the American Revolution, there are still forces at work here on British soil, determined to trample on your freedom.
These people believe that...
All right, I'm not going to run that too long because I have some other things I want to cover before we run out of time. But the UN, through this small arms treaty, has already done around the world. We're the only holders. Now, President Obama seems to, listen to the entire show, he is right in there with them. They're all snuggled up under the covers in bed together. This is the plan. Obviously, they're arming themselves to the teeth, and they're doing everything they could possibly do to get the guns out of our hands. I know for a fact that they've heard the comments from across this country, from every law-abiding citizen who has a gun, who has said, I'm not giving up my guns. If you want it, come get it. That's a recipe for disaster. Not only that they want to take the guns out of your hands, but that the American people are saying, this is my right. You're not taking my gun. If you think you can take it, come get it, because it's on. This is a bad situation. let's cover this real quick. What's going on here, besides what we've already covered? We know there are 300 or more FEMA camps distributed around the country. We know that Congress has authorized 30,000 drones to conduct surveillance over the American people. We know DHS has required 2 billion rounds of 40 caliber hollow point. Now, this is 40 caliber hollow point is not even permissible for use in warfare under the Geneva Convention. DHS does not conduct operations abroad. It's homeland security. So it's obvious this is ammo that can't be used in war, right? You can't use according to the Geneva Convention. So they must be acquiring this massive stock of ammo and vehicles and drones for use in the United States. We also know Congress is in the process of passing the H.R. 6566. This is the Mass Fatality Planning and Religious Considerations Act, which was posted on the govtrack.us website, FEMA, to mobilize for mass fatality planning. This was in October of 2012, and it mandates federal agencies to respond to funeral homes, cemeteries, mortuaries being overwhelmed in the aftermath of natural disaster, terror attack, or other crisis. It was posted after having been approved by the House on September 28th of 2012. Now, not to make an obvious point, but there's no domestic terrorist threat and no conceivable natural disaster that could possibly justify this dramatic authorization of coping with staggering numbers of bodies. Staggering numbers. And that's what this bill deals with. The U.S. Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs has established there is no threat to America that could possibly cause this many casualties. Since there's no huge threat like this, then why do we have all the FEMA camps? Why did they buy all of this ammo? Why are we doing this? If you've listened to the entire program, what's the point of all this? Not only the vehicles, the ammo, the automatic weapons, military in the streets of Miami and Houston doing events, these training, urban training, and then trying to take the guns out of our hands. People, it's time to wake up. We need to do something before it actually does break out into civil war. The last thing we want is civil war. Now, I know everybody says they're not taking my guns. Well, look, we need to take legal action to make sure it doesn't get to that point. We don't want civil war in this country. Do you hear what I'm saying? Let's get off of our big fat duffs and start getting some people out of office and getting some people in there that will at least try to be honest with us. Because we cannot have this new world order as long as you and I stand in the way. I've got less than a minute left. Thank you so much. Come to the website and check out that vehicle, wdeanshook.com. Email me at contact@wdeanshook.com. And let's pray for this nation. God help us.